Chiefs Kingdom, what's going on? Today's topic is an easy one. Will the Chiefs play their starters in Week 18 in a game that really doesn't matter? You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Sanders, and I appreciate you joining us. And that's the question everybody's kind of starting to be asking because, well, Andy Reid mentioned a little bit about what he expected, but now it's very certain the Chiefs are locked into the number 3 seed. If we take a look at the AFC Playoff picture, they can't go anywhere. If they win, it doesn't matter because guess what? The Dolphins are playing the Bills. And the Bills beat the Chiefs, so therefore they would jump the Chiefs to the 2 spot. If the Dolphins win, then they're a game ahead of the Chiefs. They can't go up to 2. And then the Jaguars, you beat the Jaguars, and if you lose, the other team's going to have to win. I mean, you can't move back to 4. You are locked in at 3. Now, there's still obviously questions as who you're going to play. The Bills are probably the likely one, but there's also a chance to play the Dolphins, as that's also a very likely one. One thing's to happen. If the Dolphins lose, you're playing the Dolphins. Pretty simple right there. Play the Colts. You can play the Houston Texans, or you can play Pittsburgh. There's a couple of different options here. But either way you slice or dice it, the Chiefs are locked in at the number 3 seed. And so with that being said, there's not really a reason to play the starters because if you win, you're number 3. If you lose, you're number 3. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't affect your draft stock. And it's all about, at this point, playoff seeding and what goes on with that. And the question was immediately asked because it was right after the game that they knew this, given that all the AFC results were in before Sunday night's game. Well, Andy Reid was able to answer the questions post-game after the Bengals, and he was asked, hey, do you want to play the starters? He said, I haven't gotten there yet. Now, I think that's going to progress over the week, and over time we're going to know more. But I thought it was interesting because he obviously doesn't think that he's made a decision, which is a fair thing to say. You're not just going to tell your opponent, we're going to freaking not play our starters. That would make no sense. But Patrick Mahomes was also asked the question, and I think his response may be a little more interesting. So here's what he said. Now, this comes after he was asked about playing Week 18. He said, I didn't know that, but I kind of just let Coach Reid make all those decisions. If he wants us to build off this momentum, I'll be ready to roll. If he wants to give us some rest, I'll get that rest, prepare whoever we're going to play, and get ready for the playoffs. Now, this makes sense about the whole thing of keeping the momentum going because Mahomes played well. In fact, this offense had probably one of their better games just with fluidity and overall confidence. I think it was much more of a game that looked like this is the Chiefs offense that they should have been running the entire time. They cut down the playbook. The balls were going to Rashee Rice, but Isaiah Pacheco, trying to get it to Kelsey as much as possible, but also using him as a decoy. I kind of like just the way the offensive flow was going on the field. And overall, it seemed as though Mahomes liked it as well because his stats were, I'm going to say, pretty dang good. 21 for 29. 245 in the air is not nothing crazy, but still it's sufficeable. And 1 touchdown. But the thing that I look at here is 109.1 on the QB rating. I mean, that passer rating hasn't been over 100 since the Raiders game back before Christmas. I mean, heck, before Thanksgiving even. I mean, that was back to week 12 when his rating was over 100. And now he finally got one as they cut the playbook down, and it looked a lot better. Also, I said these stats were great, and I know that the yards don't pop off the sheet, but that's because Isaiah Pacheco had 130 on the ground. Dude had an absolute baller of a game. 18 carries, 130 yards, and they also had 7 receptions for 35 yards. Pop played absolutely amazing, and this was all coming off a questioning if he was going to play. He had that concussion that he had to go through the concussion protocol the week prior and was kind of labeled as a questionable pretty much throughout the week, but luckily was able to play in the last little bits. And he played amazing. I think it's interesting, though, because Pacheco, Kelsey, and Rashee Rice are all around the 1,000-yard area. And so I wonder if maybe Andy Reid plays the starters, trying to get those guys to 1,000 for the season, and then immediately pulls out each one as they get there. And that's just kind of the game plan, especially with the Chargers. If you get out early, I mean, you're obviously trying to win just because that's the nature of the game. And ultimately, if you can do it, it gives you a little more confidence going into the playoffs. So you don't really want to go on a loss. Now, at the same time, if you're playing your backups, doesn't matter. Would you play the starters in Week 18, though? Because I think there's a lot of pluses. There's a lot of minuses. You don't want to see injuries, but I'd hate to have this positive offensive momentum just go to waste. So let me know what you would do here in Week 18. If you're playing the starters, type Y for yes. If you're not playing the starters, then type in for no. Give me an explanation down in the description below because I'm kind of curious to see, is there like a reason that you want them to play? Is there a reason you don't want them to play? Let me know in the comments of today's video. Type Y for yes if you would play starters. Type in for no if you would not. Let's kind of talk about this L'Jarius Sneed drama, because L'Jarius Sneed and Ja'Marr Chase were obviously not friends on the field. And, well, let's just say that Sneed locked down Chase. And Chase, who had some previous words for him in the week, was not exactly happy with that. Now, before we get to all the details of that, got to tell you about our awesome sponsor for today's video, and that is Factor Meals. And the best part about it, you can go to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat and use that code ChiefsChat to get 50% off your order. And I'm telling you, you want to get started on your New Year's resolutions with Factor so that you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal prepping and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, the prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious, flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Factor now offers loads of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep you going no matter what's on the schedule. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. When things get hectic, Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. Once again, head to factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50. Use that code ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. That's code ChiefsChat50 at factormeals.com/ChiefsChat50 to get 50% off. I'm telling you, you're going to want to take advantage of that. We're going to put that in the comments and in the description of this video. Go check it out down below to get that 50% off. Let's kind of talk about it. Okay, so the fighting words that were spoken before the game. Now, obviously, there was some drama with Sneed and Chase during the game, but that all stemmed from comments Chase made in the week prior, saying that nothing on the Chiefs' defense impressed him, which, considering L'Jarius Sneed has locked down the likes of A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, I mean, he has really just been the menace to everybody he has faced, and he hasn't really allowed a touchdown on him all year. And, well, let's just say that there was some altercations on the field, and after the game, they asked L'Jarius Sneed, what exactly happened? And L'Jarius said, quote, "We had some words, but check the stats," which may be one of the hardest quotes said all year by L'Jarius Sneed, because he's been a quiet guy. He knows that he's good, and he's just kind of been that humble presence. But Ja'Marr said, no, I don't really think he's any that impressive. Hey, Ja'Marr, how does 3 receptions for 41 yards sound when you got targeted 7 times then? I think that it was just dumb of Ja'Marr to say anything to a guy that had just been absolutely locked down pretty much that entire season, and he locked down him. I mean, especially the fact, like, you didn't have Burrow. Now, I understand Ja'Marr had a really good game against the Chiefs the previous game, not this past Sunday, but the previous time. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen this time, especially the way L'Jarius Sneed has been playing. It makes no sense. But the funny part is, he doubled down. He didn't stop at those comments pregame. He didn't stop with the fighting on the field. He, after the game, was asked about it. He said, MFer won't fight me. Just trash talking, can't handle it. Which, in theory, is like, what are you talking about? But at the same time, he said that with T. Higgins to the lock to the left of him, and T. Higgins just started laughing. Future wide receiver for the Chiefs, T. Higgins, I'm telling you, it's just kind of wild, because even his teammates were just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we're eliminated from the playoffs. It doesn't matter. Like, just stop. It makes no sense. And let's be quite honest. Chase got owned. Like, this is your father, Ja'Marr Chase. This is your father. L'Jarius Sneed is now your daddy. Go freaking give him a hug and make sure you get him a Father's Day card. That's just just stop the crap talk. Yeah, I understand you had a good game before, but that doesn't mean you're going to have a good game this year. And L'Jarius Sneed owned you, and just own up to it. Man, it was flat out ridiculous. I mean, I know that you want to be this confident guy, and I get that, but it just makes no sense. Make sure you're getting him a Father's Day card this year, because he is your father. And if you think L'Jarius Sneed owned Ja'Marr Chase and he is now his father, well, then type L'Jarius Sneed, type LS for his little initials, because it's just freaking stupid, man. I'm tired of all this trying. Like, I understand the NFL is a trash talking thing, but the fact that he just straight up doubled down is just kind of hilarious to me. Dude got freaking snapped, just could not do anything the entire game, and still was like, oh, he won't fight me. Yeah, because we actually are going to the playoffs. I'm not trying to get a suspension. Freaking, oh well. But here's the thing. Sneed's been doing this all year. I've talked about the guys he's locked down, and Ja'Marr Chase is just another guy. I mean, he's pretty much, have you seen that meme, the Grim Reaper going to each door? Ja'Marr Chase was just the next door. That's all it was. In fact, Sneed in coverage this year has locked down, like I said, A.J. Brown. He covered them, 1 catch, 8 yards. DJ Moore, 3 catches, 41 yards. Sound familiar? That was the exact line that Ja'Marr Chase had. Tyreek Hill, 8 for 62. Leading receiver in the NFL, under 70 yards on 8 catches. Pretty good. Stefon Diggs, who hasn't been good this year, but still, 4 catches, 24 yards. And then Justin Jefferson, 3 catches for 28 yards. This is exactly why you need to sign him back. I mean, I think we have to switch to this topic a little bit just because I know we talked, if you saw yesterday's video, about how Chris Jones is a pretty big offseason piece, but I think L'Jarius Sneed maybe almost as big, to be quite honest, with the year he's had and the lockdown performances he's had on pretty much every single receiver. I'd like to see him back with the Chiefs and at Arrowhead Stadium on Sundays because, man, I just couldn't imagine going into next season. I love Trent McDuffie, and we talked about him a lot in the regular season, we're in the regular season, in the preseason and the first couple weeks, but L'Jarius Sneed has been the better quarterback. Trent McDuffie's been amazing on top of it, but if you can keep those two together, Trent McDuffie's still in that rookie deal, you got 2 more years left on that, you sign L'Jarius to a 2-year deal for, say, I don't know, $20 million, $25 million? I like that a lot. Make sure you subscribe for Chiefs news and rumors all year long. We're going to keep you up to date on free agency, all season, all that goes along with that. Plus, as we head into the playoffs, tell you about playoff seeding, tell you about who the Chiefs are going to face, previews for each game, along with what exactly is going to happen with this offense once they get it figured out, if they get it figured out, and how the Chiefs can be able to go back and win the Super Bowl. But for now, that's all we got for you, Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate you making it through this video. And as always, I know it takes some time every day, so I personally would like to thank you for just spending your time with us. And as always, Chiefs Kingdom, peace out.